BUTOH is not something you can do casually. The body must be in a constant state of change. I want the body to be reduced to a single core of spirit, to disappear, to be beautiful even in contortion. I believe that you must be very harsh, very disciplined in finding the body's ideal expression.
それから消えることもできる体にしてほしい。それから歪んでも美しくなってほしい。それに関してはいろんなものに、自分の肉体に厳しくなっていかなきゃいけない。そういうことかな。
I'm always paying homage to the body. The body is held up, supported by something invisible to the eye. The body is not something you can discover with language. You can't chase it with words. There are those who believe that the body is physically moved by unseen forces that inhabit the flesh. In Japanese, ma refers to the space between, an interval, spatial or temporal. People wonder, what is this ma trying to ask? What is it trying to do? It is here in this space between that spirits and gods dwell. To capture those spirits, those gods inside our bodies, that is what BUTOH is all about.
BUTOH was born during a time of turmoil. In the decades after World War II, Japan's culture was in a state of transition. The relentless imitation of the West stirred resistance and controversy. Many Japanese were opposed to the disintegration of their cultural identity. In 1959, Japan's mutual defense treaty with the United States sparked violent demonstrations. Tokyo's streets and university campuses became an arena for spontaneous cultural activity, including happenings, performance art, and agitprop theater. A young dancer from northern Japan, Tatsumi Hijikata, was inspired by the informality and daring of this provocative scene. Hijikata presented Forbidden Colors at the 1959 Modern Dance Festival. This dance, later recognized as the first BUTOH performance, established Hijikata's fame as an avant-garde artist. Forbidden Colors was based on the scandalous novel by Yukio Mishima, a leading intellectual force in this struggle. The brutal and homoerotic content of this performance shocked the conservative modern dancers and resulted in a split between the dance establishment and Hijikata and his supporters.
I first met Hijikata at the notorious performance of his Forbidden Colors.
At that time, his dances were like erotic sacrificial ceremonies. Influences came from everywhere, even from European writers like Genet, de Sade, and Artaud. Forbidden Colors was about homosexuality. The audience was outraged. Until then, they'd only seen pretty ballet-like pieces set to music like Chopin. The women just turned away. They got up and left.
Hijikata's choreography was to become the main creative thrust within the expanding BUTOH movement. Fascinated with grotesque images of death, destruction, and deformity, he discovered the beauty of the dark side of the soul. He named his work Ankoku BUTOH, Dance of Darkness.
Inside all of us, there is 50% darkness, a dark place that we know nothing about. It is that darkness that Ankoku BUTOH strives to preserve. Ankoku BUTOH is something we don't understand completely, an unknown part of our bodies that awaits discovery.
Nearly all dancers of Hijikata's generation were trained by Bakuishi and other teachers influenced by German Expressionism, the new dance of the 1920s and 30s, as represented by Harald Kreutzberg and Mary Wigman. Hijikata's BUTOH pushed the body beyond the limitations of modern dance. He rejected Western ideals of beauty. Instead, he explored the austere, archetypal forms and gestures of ancient Japan. In 1968, Hijikata's performance, Revolt of the Flesh, had a profound effect on the emerging dance movement. Revolt of the Flesh was celebrated as Japan's breakthrough to an artistic reawakening. The Japanese body was liberated from decades of imprisonment by Western cultural influence. Revolt of the Flesh is remembered for its uncontrolled savagery and relentless mockery of Western conventions. The audience was plunged into a tense and chaotic world of terrified animals and barbaric imagery, climaxing with the killing of a rooster. Hijikata grew up in one of the bleakest areas of northern Japan, where survival was a constant struggle. In contrast to the escapist character of Japanese modern dance, Hijikata's work directly confronted the reality of the human condition. He had successfully internalized the essence of his childhood experience among the impoverished farmers of Tohoku.
In my childhood, when early spring came to Tohoku, water from the melting snow would rush into the river, creating a whirlpool. I would jump into the vortex and be seized by the root of a willow tree. The adults would search for me, yelling, "What happened? Is he dead?" I will be rescued, and there and then born again. It was no longer enough to be born only from the womb. I was born many times over.
In the free atmosphere of Hijikata's studio, we would translate images into pure movement. This is one seed. How it will develop, I do not know. As time passes, it will grow into something meaningful. One shape gradually transformed into another, chicken to horse, and this to that. It was the metamorphosis between the images that we concentrated on. The horns of a bull become heavier and transform into the antlers of a deer. The antlers define the space as they turn. This time, the antlers retreat. Awakened are the tiny nerves of a bird. A cock's comb, a beak, the neck. A rooster is born.
In his last creative phase, Hijikata worked primarily with women, almost exclusively with Yoko Ashikawa, a painter who had no formal dance training. He would mold his ideas on her body, and together they devised a series of gestures that were to become standard BUTOH vocabulary. In Tohoku Kabuki of 1984, Hijikata revealed a new tendency in his work, the abandonment of shocking choreography, concentrating instead on a more simple expression. Hijikata's leadership had become a central force in the development of BUTOH as an original form of art. His death in 1986 was a terrible loss to his many followers. His absence has put the burden on them to find their own way in BUTOH. Akaji Maro is the flamboyant and eccentric leader of Dai Rakuda Kan, one of the largest BUTOH companies. In the late 60s, Maro was an actor in Tokyo's underground theater when he met Hijikata and was exposed to BUTOH. Together, they collaborated in spectacular nightclub performances to support their BUTOH careers. In a remote residential district of Tokyo is Dai Rakuda Kan's modest rehearsal space, where more than 20 dancers work communally. Over the years, Maro has created an impressive repertoire of large-scale dance theater pieces based on ancient Japanese legends.
BUTOH is timeless. It is always about to be born. That's where its energy comes from. If it actually came into being, it would cease to exist. BUTOH is eternally unborn. Thus, temptation is our slogan. It's a concept. Not BUTOH, not dance, not theater. This is the foundation of Dai Rakuda Kan. Temptation, or temptenshki, is the power of the simple, daily actions of humanity which have been shed in the course of evolution. We pass through many initiations, and it's the gestures, the signs that have undergone friction, abortion, miscarriage, that I gather and rearrange, gestures that are not intentional or deliberate. That is the source of temptenshki, and that's how I construct my drama. 組み替えとそれから構築っていうかそれが天賦天式の仕事だと思ってるんですけれども。とかね、動物とかそういう属性をむしろ剥奪してしまって。This dance, the sea-dappled horse, is an abstract, ghostly image. 人間という変な生き物という。It's not the bodies that dance, but what comes floating up onto this space as a result of the gestures of those bodies. A kind of monster. これは意志なのか、それとも感情なのか、あるいはその人間っていうのは一つの現象に過ぎないんではないかとか、人間っていうのは一番人間の形をしてないんじゃないかとか。すでにこれで表現してんだけどね。まあ大騒ぎが好きですからね。だからあんまり考えないで作られていくという。 I like to be wild and reckless. It is intuition, not intellect, that guides me. An inner dialogue, that's what I like. That's how I work. The atmosphere here is just like it was in Hijikata's studio. In 1968, I came from the ancient city of Nara to Tokyo, carrying one trunk on my back. I wanted to have an experience. A friend said, "There's this crazy old guy you might want to meet." Tatsumi Hijikata was like an older brother. I spent 3 years hanging around in his studio. Every night we went out, performed BUTOH, entertained at nightclubs, and hung out. We played at being tough guys, running up debts, getting in trouble with the cops, threatening our creditors. In the heat of summer, we would pour water around the studio and roll around naked. All this is dance. I never had lessons in the studio with a 1, 2, 3. It was from that kind of experience with Hijikata that I naturally extracted my own style. I am playing the part of a young girl. These scenes are about the universal theme of women's love, its intimacy and joy, jealousy and despair. It is the same for man. It's the human predicament that intrigues me. My characters are not real. The seed-appled horse does not exist. It is an imaginary creature, something like Disney's Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse. This work is about an abstract, mythical beast, symbolic of the body's confinement, symbolic of death. The rape and violence are the wisdom of ancient history, forcing itself upon innocence.
1970s, BUTOH was introduced to the West. Audiences from Paris to New York were fascinated. The company that has become the most widely known is Sankai Juku, whose leader, Ushio Amagatsu, had been trained in Akaji Maro's Dai Rakudakan. Amagatsu's approach is delicate and sophisticated, less provocative than that of his predecessors. Each piece that he creates for Sankai Juku is carefully crafted. Movement has been reduced to a bare minimum. Hakushu, a farming village 2 hours north of Tokyo, is the home of Min Tanaka and his dance company, Mai Juku. As a modern dancer in the 1960s, Tanaka developed his own improvisational style, separate from Hijikata's movement. In 1984, he left Tokyo to work in the countryside. Tanaka wanted to realize his dream of wide open spaces, fresh air, and a dance community that would live off the land. In their first and only collaboration in 1985, Hijikata choreographed a solo for Min Tanaka, entitled Love BUTOH. This experience had a profound effect on Tanaka.
やっぱりHijikataさんがどれだけいられたかっていうことのね、やっぱり一番僕にとっての一番大事なことっていうのは。
There were many important aspects to Hijikata's dance, but for me, the most important was his belief in perpetual change, like the movement of nature. Perhaps this concept might seem unusual to most people, but to Hijikata, it was very natural. His work contained within it the freedom to change. That was the very essence of Hijikata's dance. I wasn't interested in the form or style of his dance, or his method. It was his life and his way of thinking that attracted me. And for me, that is BUTOH. I have my own dance. Hijikata has his own dance. Everyone has their own dance. And it is always evolving. Everything changes. Clouds become rain, rivers, oceans, and finally water vapor again. Humans are just the same.
そういう生き方に僕はものすごく共感してるんです。自分の生きていることそのものをね、BUTOHと呼ぶんだったらまだいいんだけど、そのステージの上でのこと、物事。
I resist a formal notion of BUTOH. a structured BUTOH that is limited to what you see on stage. I'm not interested in what is finished, what has already been perfected. I concentrate on the process of BUTOH, working with what is incomplete, unfinished.
そうやって死んでみたいと思っているし。まず自然と人間との関係。
Trying to bring the earth to life again is my purpose. I want to make dances that are based on natural phenomena.
上で下ろす。で、土とか。
In order to return to the origins of art, the origins of dance, I strive for a sense of fear, of danger.
中で踊ってたわけです。そういうものと人間とがいつもこう交換をしながらこうそういうものの中でブレが生まれた。その場所がまず一番最初にあるということが大事なんです。例えば今度の春の祭典っていうのは
I'm now making the rite of spring, but not without regard to the place in which it will be performed. The location is all important. I don't take the same work from one theater to another.
一応アイデアとしては
As an idea, the rite of spring will continue, but it will be redesigned, reflecting each new location.
コミックがあるからコミックにでやれる春の祭典をやるわけです。そうそうかかってタイミング。いい？わかった？春の祭典が最初にパリのオペラ座で
The first performance of the Rite of Spring was by Nijinsky at the Paris Opera in 1913.
一番意識しているのはニジンスキー。
Nijinsky's performance is the only one that I am conscious of as an influence in my work. For 5 years, I've been brooding about this work. Now it is beginning to erupt.
全部その春の祭典の中に入れたいなと思ってますね。世界の人が舞踏って
As more and more people talk about BUTOH, we become unable to understand the meaning of BUTOH. If we understand something, what is left? There are many things that we cannot touch, that we cannot grasp, like the stars and the moon, truly beautiful things. It is better not to understand them.
「
About last night's performance, Min Tanaka's Rite of Spring, the fact that it rained enhanced the performance. If it hadn't rained, we would have seen everything that they had worked so hard to achieve. But because it rained, we could only see about half. Normally, this would be considered a disaster, but instead, the downpour became part of the performance. The effect was fascinating.
100の条件があるでしょ。100の舞台があるとする。そして作ったものが50と見えるとつまんないでしょ。ね、50としか見えなければ。ところが残りの50を雨が満たしてくれた。
Kazuo Ono was an established modern dancer in his 50s when he was discovered by Hijikata. He became an important part of the BUTOH movement, collaborating with Hijikata for more than 25 years. Ono is a devout Christian. His dance embodies the universal drama of life, love, death, and rebirth.
The living grow and develop by the grace of those who have gone before. If you cherish those who have died, saying thank you in your heart, they will help you grow. You should not think of the past as being dead and gone, the dead as having no connection to the living. If you took that out of my dance, there would be nothing left. It is my history. The rope is from the very beginning of my life in my mother's womb. It is a connection between my mother and myself. I was surrounded by the rhythm of the universe, and like a pump, I eagerly sucked life into me. The creation of a dance piece is identical with the birth of life. Dance is life itself.
In 1929, Ono was captivated by a performance of a famous Spanish dancer known as La Argentina. This memory lingered within him and emerged 50 years later in his signature dance, which he choreographed with Hijikata. Admiring La Argentina features Ono as the embodiment of his lifelong obsession.
Argentina is very beautiful. But sometimes she is like a bull. When I am Argentina, I must kill the bull. But then I'm also the bull. So I must kill myself. How can I kill myself? There's no immediate solution. And the suffering and turmoil I endure while searching for a solution is what gives my dance its meaning. It is better for me not to know what to do, to kill myself again and again. By creating my dance in this way, everyone spontaneously identifies with it, without thinking. Not thinking, only by soul.
Not thinking, only by soul. Soul で魂でもってそういうものを見るだろうと思うから。
Hijikata's words were the words of BUTOH. Once while choreographing, he simply called my name, Ono-san. And I knew exactly how to move. With brief, enigmatic words and spontaneous outbursts, his soul and my soul touched. Hijikata believed that in modern dance and ballet, there's too much overt relationship. By isolating the dancers, you are able to express greater depth of feeling. The direct encounter of two souls. My son, Yoshito, studied with Hijikata, and he was pleased when we used Hijikata's idea in our own dance, that dancers should work in isolation. In the Dead Sea, although we are together in one scene, we never have any obvious relationship. We dance completely separately, yet our hearts are dancing in unison.
テクニックって言えばテクニックだけどなんとなくこう魂のね
This kind of independence between dancers should exist between marriage partners as well.
I love you, I love you だから安心してこうして
To say out loud, I love you, is a waste of time. You should cherish the thought and maybe in the tiniest whisper, maybe only in your heart, say, I love you. If there is love in your soul, then your body will express it naturally in everyday movements.
それが大事なところだよね 梅干しをね大好きな
There is an old woman whose husband has died, and her husband just loved pickled plums. Even though he has died, his wife goes on making them for him.
こういう気持ち持ってね梅干しを
One time, when she's drying the plums outside, it begins to rain.
ダンスをやるわけいかないでしょ
She hurries to gather them up and take them inside. You can't dance with a tiny little pickled plum. That's why I use the stick. The dance is about the pain of love, the pain of her love for her husband.
のようなシンボリックなものですよね
Natsu Nakajima improvises a dance in a small public garden near her studio in Tokyo. In the early 60s, she was deeply moved by the work of Tatsumi Hijikata and Kazuo Ono. They made such an impression on her that she decided to devote herself entirely to BUTOH. In 1969, she formed her own company, Muteki Sha, Foghorn, evoking an early childhood memory of being evacuated by boat from the Sakhalin Islands.
I にとって踊ることは人生とか生活とかそういったものと切り離せないものなんですね。
I am seeking the balance of life and dance.
人生のバランスといったことを考えています。
I am interested in a more feminine, emotional expression.
私にとって女性の表現形式として情念の
Although this differs from Hijikata's original emphasis, it was through the recognition of our differences that I was able to develop my own personal art.
何が舞踏だとかそういったことに
In my work, I am constantly redefining BUTOH.
といった方がふさわしいんじゃないでしょうか。 東洋のものの考え方で
Appearing in public includes hiding as well. To be a BUTOH dancer does not mean you must only be a famous artist on stage. In the Orient, to be anonymous is a great and common part of life. Through BUTOH, I learned how to form my identity. Now I will once again be anonymous.
In Kyoto's industrial district is the studio of BUTOH, the White Tigers. Isamu Osuka, a former member of Dai Rakudokan, choreographs in the wild, extravagant style of a Kajimaro. The members of BUTOH live in cramped quarters above their rehearsal studio. Much of BUTOH's creative impulse comes from their principal dancer, Sanae Hiruta.
I like to consider myself a Renaissance person. I'd like to live like Leonardo da Vinci. Although we are dancers, we make videos, write essays, compose music, as well as manage our company, which means thinking about money. To me, the idea that dancers should only dance seems very confining. I'm always trying to discover something new about myself. Inside me, there's a kind of space or sphere which is able to transcend boundaries. The boundary between what you know consciously and what you know unconsciously. Beauty is a revolutionary concept. I'm not talking about the feeling that you get when you look at a photograph of a model in a fashion magazine. There are things much more beautiful than that. The kind of beauty that sends chills down your spine. Osuka showed me a very powerful photograph in Bataille's book, The Tears of Eros. The photograph is about a lynching that took place in China in 1905. The face of the tortured person seems to be ecstatically smiling. The face is really beautiful. There are so many things that are beautiful in that way. Like a scab on a scratch that you got as a child, and because you wanted to peel it off as soon as possible, just a speck of blood would well up. That kind of beauty.
I call BUTOH the internal tiger. There is a tiger living inside the human body. When the tiger is excited, he goes into a forest with no name. The human body is the forest with no name. When humans are in the womb, it is said that the development process they go through is like the process of human evolution. For me, BUTOH is when those memories from the womb are reawakened. I was born in Hiroshima. When the atomic bomb fell, I was in my mother's womb. The window pane turned pink, then lavender purple, and finally a deep crimson. That was the instant of the explosion. Although I was still in the womb, I can remember those colors. For me, certain colors like red have a very powerful emotional impact.
If you ask me where I'm from, I'd have to say I was from Asia, not Japan. When I went to Indonesia as a small child, I loved to walk along the canal embankments. Suddenly, the sunlight would hit me, and for an instant, I'd feel like everything had vanished. Even now, I think if I could only make that moment into a dance. In Indonesia, I had a kind of déjà vu that made me feel this must be a memory from before I was born. We want to recreate a kind of traditional Japanese theater. We consider the whole theater, not just what's on stage, but the physical theater, including the audience. In the old days, when people went to see kabuki or sumo, they would eat, drink, and laugh out loud during the performances. If they were bored, they'd go to sleep and wake up for the good parts. It was a freer atmosphere that allowed for a lot more audience participation, entirely different from the formal European style. By actively taking part in our BUTOH, you unleash your emotions. This frees you to respond in your own way.
The atomic bomb fell in August, at just that time of year when people eat watermelons. For me, the smell of watermelon and the bomb are closely related. In the performance, I smashed the watermelon. Its smell bursts out over the audience. By using different senses to interpret our dance, the spectator's experience is heightened.
Yoko Ashikawa worked with Hijikata for 20 years to develop a language of infinitely detailed gestures. She is best known for her chameleon-like ability to transform herself from a dwarf to a clown to a witch, and to elements of nature, now a flower, now a stone, now water. Yoko Ashikawa and her company Hakutobo, the White Peaches, are artists in residence at the annual Toga International Arts Festival. Hakutobo investigates a gesture vocabulary based on the mystery of the body, its power and endurance. The result is a pure, more refined approach to BUTOH, in contrast to the extravagance of other companies.
Most important in my work is the birth and development of BUTOH. I'd like to bring people to an understanding of BUTOH, to love BUTOH for its universality. That is my art. Tatsumi Hijikata used to say that when you say something, it isn't you speaking. I don't dance thinking to myself, this is Yoko Ashikawa dancing. In our troupe, we don't need individual names. Everyone is named Ashikawa because it's about being anonymous. There is BUTOH in becoming the air or a single leaf. Hakutobo's present members are the last students of Hijikata. They were present at the great drama of his death. The energy and inspiration they received from that encounter has been enormous.
日本では亡くなる最後というのは人に見せない静かに死んでいくという習慣があるんですが私は
Usually in Japan, people die quietly.
みんなが
They hide the last moments of life. But Hijikata wanted to share his moment of death with each and every person. And so everyone surrounded his deathbed.
土方と分かち合おうと大勢の人たちと分かち合おうと思いましたからみんな土方のベッドの周り囲みました。そして土方はベッドにきちっと座って
Hijikata sat up straight in bed like this, and for a long time thanked us all, expressing his gratitude through dance.
ずっと踊ったんです。もうずっとこう点滴の
His body was all entangled in intravenous tubes, but he still performed this dance of death.
彼はこうずっと死の踊りを踊りました。それはもう亡くなる30分
Tears were streaming down the faces of everyone watching. I finally asked him to stop, and he said, "You should applaud. Applaud. I want to go out amidst cheers and applause."
拍手しろ。拍手しろ。
体には一本細い芯が
Hakutobo's training is about strengthening the body's spirit. When someone sees our dance for the first time, they often say things like, "You didn't look human at all," or "Your contorted face was so beautiful." Our aim is to understand the whole of the body, down to the movement of a single strand of hair.
だから踊りの内容も
The content of my work, its spirit, is not necessarily Hijikata's spirit. My BUTOH is like the cry of the body, a body that is silent, yet full of ideas it yearns to express.
言いたいことがいっぱいあったんだと思うの。この作品は私と主演の足川泉っていう子が
In this dance, Izumi Ashikawa and I are trees. First, a seed drops from my tree, and the seed grows into another.
そういう樹木のとこに
Over the years, many creatures seek the shelter of these trees.
同じ時間を過ごしていくと
The trees pass the time together, side by side, and after many years, during a heavy storm, one tree falls. The other will grow for another 60, 600, or 6,000 years.
踊りが
It makes no difference.
作ってみて成功してるの。私が踊ってる踊りを見て
My favorite reaction from the audience is that they are reminded of their grandparents.
若い人の意見っていうのは
They think they see their dead grandmother resurrected and dancing on the stage, or they recall how their grandfather became senile.
思い出してくれる。 そう、舞踏っていうのはね、やっぱり大きなドラマをね、
BUTOH has transformed dance and has the power to touch every human being.
その大きなドラマって人間の大きなドラマっていうと、
BUTOH tells a kind of grand drama,
それはやっぱ舞踏が
the human drama,
表現というか、
the drama that begins with
舞台
birth
なり
and continues until death.
でみんなに伝達するものだと思う。
ありすぎた表情を話しに行く。強い。X キャス X 体正面。
Scalias che libera. Oh, así Niopsos ernier diomolice. Arriba pareil.
腹筋で呼吸だ。肩に上がってくるでしょ。反りがあった。
Thank you.